Hello there, my name is Payal Narayani and welcome to this video series. यहाँ हम कवर कर रहे हैं पूनम दलाल दहिया की एंशिएंट एंड मेडिवल इंडिया की 3rd एडिशन, जो कि लेटेस्ट एडिशन है. इस किताब को हम ट्रूली रीड करेंगे और जहाँ ज़रूरत पड़ेगी वहाँ हम साथ ही साथ UPSC एंड स्टेट सर्विसेज में आए हुए प्रीवियस ईयर के क्वेश्चंस भी डिस्कस करेंगे. एंड इस सीरीज़ में वीडियोज़ लगभग 30 to 35 मिनट्स के होंगे, बट इफेक्टिव होंगे. और हम ऑलमोस्ट 40 to 45 लेक्चर्स में ये पूरी किताब कवर करेंगे. और अगर आपने ये सीरीज़ 3 to 4 टाइम्स देख ली तो बिल्कुल ये किताब आपके दिमाग में छप जाएगी. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, आपकी एक्यूरेसी भी काफ़ी इंक्रीज़ हो जाएगी. साथ ही साथ आपका रिवीजन भी काफ़ी आसान हो जाएगा. सो अगर आपको रिवीजन के साथ साथ वैल्यू एडिशन भी करना है तो ये सीरीज़ पूरी फॉलो करें. आपको बस आपके पास ये किताब रखकर मुझे सुनना है एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स मार्क करने हैं. So without any further delay, let's get started. Hello there, welcome back to the channel Ghatna Sutra. यहाँ हम कवर कर रहे हैं पूनम दलाल दहिया की एंशिएंट एंड मेडिवल इंडिया 3rd एडिशन, जो कि लेटेस्ट एडिशन है. और हम आज शुरू कर रहे हैं विद द टॉपिक ऑफ गुरु नानक फ्रॉम द चैप्टर भक्ति एंड अदर इम्पॉर्टेंट रिलीजियस मूवमेंट. एंड बिफोर वी मूव अहेड विद दिस टॉपिक, है ना, इस टॉपिक को आप ट्रिपल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए क्योंकि मल्टीपल एग्जामिनेशंस में इसके ऊपर सवाल पूछे गए थे. जैसे कि UPSC में, UPPCS में, UPRO/ARO की एग्जामिनेशन में, MPPSC में एंड RAS/RTS की एग्जामिनेशन में भी. ठीक है, सो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड. गुरु नानक 1469 to 1539 CE, the first Sikh Guru, founder of Sikhism, who was also a Nirgun Bhakti saint and a social reformer. According to him, the Absolute or Rab had no gender or form. He proposed a simple way of connecting with the divine by remembering and repeating the divine name, expressing ideas through hymns called Shabd. He was born in Khatri household in the village of Talwandi, now in Nanka, on the bank of the river Ravi. In 1469 CE, his father was an accountant, and even Nanak was trained in Persian to follow his father's footstep, but he was inclined towards mysticism. He preached about the unity of God and opposed all sort of distinctions, be it religious rivalries or caste distinctions, and condemned the formalism and ritualism of both Islam and Hinduism. The sacred space created by Guru Nanak was known as dharmashalas, which is now known as gurudwaras. He laid great emphasis on the purity of character and conduct and considered both of them to be the first essential condition of approaching God. He also stressed on the need of Guru for guidance. Like Kabir, he advocated a middle path in which spiritual life could be combined with the duties of the householders. He used the term Naam, Dan and Insan, meaning right worship, welfare of others and purity of conduct. His teachings are now remembered as Naam Japna, Kirat Karna and Vand Chakna, signifying the importance of right belief and worship, honest living and helping others. Excuse me. Dadu Dayal 1544 to 1603 CE. Dadu means brother and Dayal means the compassionate one. Dadu Dayal is one of the major representatives of Nirgun saints tradition in northern India. He believed that devotion to God should transcend religious or sectarian affiliation and that devotee should become non-sectarian or nipak. According to tradition, he was a saint from Gujarat who spent the best years of his spiritual life in Rajasthan. His followers came to be known as Dadupantis, who set up ashrams known as Thambas around the region. It is believed that Emperor Akbar and Kabir were the two of his prominent followers. Vaishnavite movements. Apart from the non-sectarian movement, the Bhakti movement in North India developed around the worship of Rama and Krishna, two of the incarnation of the god Vishnu. Saint poet Tulsidas was the leading light of the Ram cult. His great poem, the Ramacharitmanas, popularly called as Tulsi Kirat Ramayan. So highlight the work done by Tulsidas, जिसे हम कहते हैं रामचरितमानस, and it is popularly also called as Tulsi Kirat Ramayan, is very popular among Hindu devotees till date, in which he portrays Sri Ram as all virtuous and all powerful and very embodiment of the supreme reality. On the other hand, the followers of Krishna cult founded by Radha Vallabhi sect under Hari Vamsa in 1585 CE. In the early 16th century, Vallabhacharya, a popular Bhakti saint, popularized the Krishna Bhakti cult. He was followed by Surdas, 1483 to 1563 CE, and Mirabai, 1503 to 1573 CE. Surdas wrote Sur Sagar, Sura Sarvali, and Sahitya Lahiri in Braj Bhasha. So highlight the work done by Surdas, ठीक है? Which is full of verses on the charms of Lord Krishna and his beloved Radha. Mirabai, the daughter-in-law of Rana Sanga, was a great devotee of Krishna, and she became popular in Rajasthan for her bhajans. Later, the exponent of Ram cult and Krishna cult among the Vaishnavas branched off into a number of sects and creeds. The Vaishnava Bhakti movement in Bengal was very different from that in the north and south India. The Vaishnava Bhakti tradition of Bhagavata Purana and the Sajiya Buddhist and Nathpanthi traditions influenced the Bhakti movement. These traditions focused on historic and emotional aspect of devotion. In 12th century, Jayadeva, an important Bhakti saint in this tradition, highlighted the mystical dimension of love with reference to Krishna and Radha. Another popular Bhakti saint from the region was Chaitanya, who was even considered as an incarnation of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Before we move ahead with this topic, आप इस टॉपिक को ट्रिपल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए, क्योंकि इसके ऊपर यूपीएससी के एग्जामिनेशन में 2004 में सवाल आया था, साथ ही यूपी पीसीएस में 1990 एंड 2014 में, एंड झारखंड पीसीएस में 2011 में इसके ऊपर सवाल आया था. ठीक है, सो ट्रिपल स्टार मार्क दिस टॉपिक. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 1486 to 1533 CE, 16th century saint and a social reformer of Bengal, who popularized the Krishna cult in Bengal. He was even looked upon as an avatar incarnation of Krishna under his able guidance. The Bhakti movement in Bengal developed into a reform movement, as it questioned social division on the basis of caste. It is believed that he was greatly influenced by philosophical school of Madhva, popularized by Sankirtan and Kirtan system, group devotional songs accompanied with ecstatic dancing. He believed that through songs and dance, love and devotion, a devotee can feel the presence of God. He proclaimed universal brotherhood of man and emphasized on love and peace, condemning all sorts of distinctions based on religion and caste in the sphere of devotional singing, thereby accepting disciples from all classes and caste. In fact, one of his favorite disciples was Haridas, who was a Muslim. He also highly empathetic towards the suffering of other people, especially that of poor and the weak. However, he did not give up traditional Brahmanical values altogether, as he upheld the caste prejudice of his Brahmin disciples against the lower caste disciples. He sent 6 of his Sanskrit-knowing Brahmin Goswamin disciples to Vrindavan, who later established a religious order which recognized caste restrictions on its devotional practice and rituals. The biography of Chaitanya was written by Krishnadas Kaviraj. Narsingh Mehta, 1414 to 1481 CE, saint from Gujarat who wrote songs in Gujarati depicting the love of Radha Krishna. Author of Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnava Jan Ko, and gave the famous statement, "They are Vaishnavas who understand the pain of others." Saint Tyagaraja, 1767 to 1847 CE, one of the most precious jewels of Carnatic Trinity, who was highly instrumental in the development of classical devotional music tradition and considered as one of the greatest composers of Carnatic music, who had composed thousands of devotional compositions, mostly in Telugu and in praise of Lord Ram. He did not consider music as fine art but as the easiest path to attain salvation. He was a musical genius and composed the famous Pancharatna Kirtis, meaning 5 gems, in the traditional Ghatna ragas, namely Natta, Gula, Arabi, Varli and Sri Raga. Talpaka Annamacharya, 1408 to 1503 CE was the 15th century Telugu poet, saint and musician who was an ardent devotee of Hindu lord Venkateshwara. He was a pioneer in both devotional music, sankirtans, and also in the field of opposition to social evils such as the practice of untouchability. Sufism. The word Sufi is derived from Saf, which means wool in Arabic, referring to the simple cloaks worn by early Muslim ascetics. It also means purity, and thus the Sufis can be understood as the people who kept their heart pure and throughout their ascetic practice could communicate with God. It is pertinent to note that the term Sufi, Darwish, Wali, and Fakir are often used interchangeably for representing Muslim saints who could develop their intuitive faculties through contemplation, ascetic exercises, renunciation, and self-denial. Salient features of Sufism. God, man, and the relation of love between God and man is fundamental to Sufism. They sought union with the God as a lover seeks his beloved. The idea of ruh, soul, kurbat, divine proximity, hulul, infusion of the divine spirit, ishq, divine love, and fana, self-annihilation, are central to the theory of Sufism. According to Sufism, love of God meant the love of humanity, and thus they stressed on the fact that service to God is nothing but service to humanity. The Sufi sect, transcending all religious and communal distinction, have often worked for promoting the interest of humanity at large. The Sufis also regard God as the supreme beauty and draws an analogy between the God and themselves as that of Mashuk and the Ashik. They not only admire God but also take delight in his thoughts and concentrate their attention on him only. Sufism also lays stress on self-discipline and considers sense of perception as an essential condition to gain knowledge of God. Other key ideas emphasized by Sufism are good action, prayer, pilgrimage, meditation, repentance for sin, charity, fasting, and suppression of passion by ascetic practice. Unlike Orthodox Muslims, who lay emphasis on external conduct, the Sufis, on the other hand, lay stress on inner purity. They thus represent the inward or esoteric, mystical side of Islam. Background history. It is believed that Sufism or mysticism emerged in the 8th century, and the early known Sufis were Rabia al-Adwiya, al-Junaid, and Bayazid Bastami. However, it evolved into a well-developed movement by the end of the 11th century. One of the oldest Sufis in the subcontinent was Al-Hujwari, author of Kashf-ul-Majab, who also established himself in North India and was buried in Lahore. By the 12th century, the Sufis were organized in silsilas, that is Sufi order, which basically represent an unbreakable chain between the Pir, the teacher, and the Murids, the disciples, who passes through Makmat, various stages in the process of experiencing communication with the divine. The activities of various Sufi orders were centered around Kankhas, the hospice, which was led by the Sheikh, Pir, and Murshid teachers who lived with his Murid disciples and laid down rules for spiritual conduct, interaction between inmates as well as between layperson and the teacher. Gradually, the Kankhas emerged as an important center of learning and preaching. Many Sufi enjoyed the sama and musical congregation in their Kankhas. In fact, Qawwali developed during this period only. On the death of Pir, his dargah, that is a tomb or the shrine, became a center for his disciples and followers, and the ziyarat or pilgrimage to the tomb of the Sufi saint soon emerged an important form of ritual pilgrimage. The four most popular silsila among were the Chishtis, Shuravardis, Qadriyas, and Naqshbandis. Four most popular silsilas, the Chishti silsila. And before we move ahead with this, आप इस टॉपिक को डबल स्ट्रामा कर लीजिए क्योंकि ये RA/RTS की एग्जामिनेशन में 2016 में इस पे सवाल आया था एंड UPPSC में 2013 में सवाल आया था. सो जब भी हम किसी सिलसिला के बारे में बात करें, यू नीड टू रिमेंबर हु एस्टेब्लिश दैट ऑर्डर. ठीक है, क्योंकि इसमें मैच द पेयर पे काफ़ी क्वेश्चंस आ चुके हैं पहले. ठीक है, एंड प्रोबेबिलिटी इज़ हायर कि दोबारा भी आए. सो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड. द चिश्ती सिलसिला. The Chishti order was established in India by Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti, also known as Garib Nawaz. comforter of the poor, who probably moved to India during the time of invasion of Muhammad Ghori and settled in Ajmer around 1206 CE. Since his attitude towards non-Muslim was one of the tolerance and he was not actively involved in conversion, he won the respect of both Muslims and non-Muslims. His fame grew more after his death in 1235 CE, when his grave was visited by then Sultan Muhammad Tughlaq, after which the mosque and the tomb were erected by Muhammad Khulji of Malwa in 15th century. Later, after the support of Mughal Emperor Akbar, the patronage to the Dargah reached unprecedented heights. The Chishti present in Delhi was established by Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki under the patronage of Sultanate ruler Iltutmish. The Chishti believed in simplicity of life, humanity and selfless devotion to God. They believed that renunciation of worldly possession is crucial for both the control of the sense as well as for leading a spiritual life. Love as a bond between God and individual souls, and adopting an attitude of benevolence towards all. The tolerance between people of different faith and acceptance of disciples irrespective of their religious belief. Use of simple language and the refusal to accept any grant for their maintenance from the Sultan. The highest form of devotion to God was to redress the misery of those in distress, fulfilling the need of the helpless and to feed the hungry. Apart from Moinuddin Chishti, the other important Chishtis were Khalifa Khwaja Fariduddin Musad, 1175 to 1265 CE, also known as Ganj Shakhar, and more popularly as Baba Farid. He was strongly against association with the rich and ruling class, and his verses were later incorporated in Guru Granth Sahib. Nizamuddin Aulia, 1238 to 1325 CE, he brought humanism at the forefront of Sufism and laid down 6 principles for seeker of God: solitary life, physical purity and cleanliness, fasting, priority of the beloved over anything else, following the sheikhs or spiritual masters, to regard God above the two worlds. Interestingly, even though he was widely respected by the masses, yet he had conflicting relationship with different sultans such as Mubarak Khilji, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. He saw the reigns of several successive sultans of Delhi, but he is known for avoiding the company of kings and nobles and never visiting court. Prominent poet Amir Khusro, Amir Hassan Sijji, and court historian Ziauddin Barani were all disciples of Nizamuddin Aulia. Amir Khusro gave unique form of Chishti Sama by introducing the Kal, a hymn sung at the opening or closing of Qawwali. Nasruddin Chirag Edalvi, a disciple of Nizamuddin Aulia. Sheikh Burhanuddin Garib, he established the Chishti order in the 13th century in the Deccan. Mahmud Banda Nawaz, one of the famous peers of the Deccan city of Bijapur region. The Shuravardi Silsila. अब शुरावर्दी सिलसिला के ऊपर यूपीपीसीएस में 2013 में सवाल पूछा गया था, ठीक है. एंड जो सवाल सिलसिला रिगार्डिंग आते हैं, इट्स यूजुअली मैच द पेयर. सो यू नीड टू रिमेंबर हु फाउंडेड द सिलसिला एंड व्हाट इज़ द नेम ऑफ दैट सिलसिला, ठीक है. The order, which is noted for the severity of spiritual discipline, was founded by Shihabuddin Shurawardi in Baghdad and was established in India by Bahauddin Zakaria, 1182 to 1262. He openly supported the then Sultan Iltutmish, who in turn accorded the title of Sheikh ul Islam. Unlike the Chishtis, the Shurawardis accepted maintenance grant from the Sultan and took active part in politics too. They were active in Punjab and Sindh as compared to the Chishtis, who were active in Delhi, Rajasthan and part of western Gangetic Plains, and in the later years in the eastern region of Gangetic Plains, Bihar and Bengal, and into the Deccan. Shurawardis believed that a Sufi should possess the 3 attributes: property, knowledge and hal, mystical enlightenment. They, however, did not support excessive austerities or self-mortification. They stressed on observance or external form of religious beliefs and advocated a combination of ilms, scholarship with mysticism. The Naqshbandi Silsila. इनके ऊपर भी यूपीपीसीएस में 2013 में सवाल पूछा गया था, ठीक है. एंड यू नीड टू रिमेंबर द फाउंडर ऑफ द सिलसिला. द नक्शबंदी सिलसिला. द सिलसिला वाज एस्टेब्लिश्ड इन इंडिया बाय ख्वाजा Bahauddin Naqshbandi, and later on propagated by his successor Sheikh Baqi Bilha and Sheikh Ahmad Sarhind. They were also as a salient Sufis due to their practice of silent meditation of the heart. The mystics of the Silsila stressed on the observance of the Shariat law in the purest form and denounced all innovation or bidat. They attempted to purge Islam from all liberals and, according to them, un-Islamic practices. According to Chishtis, they maintained that the relationship between the man and God was that of a slave and the master and not of a lover and a beloved. They criticized the liberal policies of Akbar, such as high status accorded by Akbar to many non-Muslims, the withdrawal of jizya and the ban on cow slaughter. They opposed the listening of sama, religious music, and the practice of pilgrimage to the tombs of saints, and strongly opposed interaction with Hindus and Shias. However, after the death of Sarhind, the order was represented by two important mystics, each having a different approach. Conservative approach under the leadership of Saj Waliullah and liberal approach under the leadership of Mirza Mazhar Jane Jahan. The Qadri Silsila. सिंगल स्टार मार्क दिस टॉपिक क्योंकि इन पर UPPCS में 2013 में क्वेश्चन आया था, ठीक है. द कादरी सिलसिला. द कादरिया सिलसिला which was popular in Punjab was initiated during the Mughal rule under the teaching of Sheikh Abdul Qadir and his son Sheikh Nimatullah, Muqaddam Muhammad Jilani and Mian Mir. Another important peer of this order was Shah Badakhshini. They had enrolled the Mughal princess Janara and her brother Dara as a disciple. The peer of Silsila believed in the concept of Wahadat al-Wajud, meaning unity of existence and unity of being. That is to say, God and his creations are one and similar. The peer of this order dismissed orthodox element. It is pertinent to note that during the medieval period, while there was a constant tension between the liberal and orthodox view in Islam, the Sufi featured on both sides. For instance, there were the Chistis who held a liberal view and argued in favor of assimilation of local tradition, while there were Naqshbandi Silsila proponent who held the orthodox view of Shariat and argued that though the other Silsilas, the purity of Islam was being diluted. But the majority of Sufis found resonance with the liberal opinion that argued against the narrow definition of Islamic laws by the ulemas. It is also important to mention another group of radical Sufis who were mystics who initiated movements based on radical interpretation of Sufi ideals and observed extreme form of asceticism, often known by the name of Qalandars, Madaris, Malangs, Hadris. Since they deliberately defined Sharia, they were often referred to as Be-Sharia in contrast to Ba-Sharia Sufis who compiled with it. Impact of Sufism. A liberal and unorthodox feature of Sufism had a profound influence on medieval Bhakti saints. In the later period, a Sufi doctrine influenced the religious perspective of the ruler, along with reminding them of the moral obligation. For instance, the Mughal emperor Akbar's religious outlook and religious policies were shaped a lot under Sufism. Sufism took root in both rural and urban areas and exercised a deep social, political, and cultural influence on the masses. It helped create a new world order in which spiritual bliss was the ultimate goal, and the masses could raise their voice against all forms of orthodoxy, religious formalism, falsehood, and hypocrisy. In the world torn by strifes and conflict, the Sufis tried to bring peace and harmony. The important contribution of Sufism is that it helped to bridge the gap between the Hindu-Muslim prejudice and could bring both the communities closer to each other. Through Sufism and Bhakti cult, a bond of solidarity and brotherhood was forged between the two religious communities. It is pertinent to note that the Sufi saints are revered even today by not only Muslims but by the large number of Hindus also, and their tombs have become popular place of pilgrimage for both communities. Key terms / concept and meaning. So star mark this because exams में key terms regarding match the pair या chronological orders भी आते हैं, but it is usually match the pairs regarding key terms, ठीक है? So remember the key term and remember the meanings as well. Kankha. Pir, or the preceptor who lived in hospice and followed certain practice of Sufism. Sama, religious music which led to ecstasy. Tauba, repentance over bad deeds. Vara, non-acceptance of what was not given freely. Jilad, kindness. Fakar, poverty. Shuhurs, to observe tolerance. Shukar, acceptance of obligation. Khauf, symbolizes fear. Tawakkul, to observe contentment. Riza, surrender to achieve salvation. Ziyarat, practice of visiting tombs. Bashara, who followed Islamic law. Beshara, who not bound by the Shariat law. Sikh movement. The Sikh movement had origin in the medieval period when saint preacher Guru Nanak founded the Sikh religion, which started as a minor religion but developed into a prominent religion over the centuries. There were 10 recognized living gurus in the Nanka line. So before we start with Guru Nanak, आप इस टॉपिक को डबल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए क्योंकि इनके ऊपर MPPCS में 2015 में क्वेश्चन आया था, साथ ही UPRO/ARO की एग्जामिनेशन में 2021 में इसके ऊपर सवाल आया था. Guru Nanak, 1469 to 1539 CE, founder of Sikhism, who was born in Talwandi near Lahore in a respectable family of accountants, rejected the authority of Vedas and preached the new idea of God as a supreme universal, all-powerful, truthful, formless, fearless, without hate, self-existent, everlasting creator of all things, the eternal and absolute truth. He denounced caste distinctions and rituals like bathing in holy river and promoted equality of all human beings, including women. He argued that the caste and honor should be judged by the act or deeds of individual. He lay emphasis on concept of justice, righteousness and liberty. His conception of religion was very practical and sternly ethical. He encouraged people to give up selfishness, falsehood and hypocrisy and advised them to lead a life of truth, honesty and kindness. He guided people to follow the principles of conduct and worship, such truth, halal, lawful earning, care, wishing well of others, niyat, right intention, and service to the Lord. Abide pure amidst the impurities of the world was one of his famous sayings. His philosophy consists of 3 basic elements: a leading charismatic personality, the Guru, ideology, Shabd, and organization, Sangat. He repudiated idol worship and did not favor pilgrimage, nor did he accept the theory of incarnation. He condemned formalism and ritualism. He introduced the concept of langar, a community kitchen. His main teaching can be summarized as faith in one true Lord, worship of the name, necessity of the Guru in worship of the name, God conceptualized as nirguna, attributeless, and nirankar, formless. गुरु अंगद. गुरु अंगद की टॉपिक को आप सिंगल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए क्योंकि इनके ऊपर UPPCS में 2017 में क्वेश्चन आया था regarding who started the institution of Guru ka langar. So it was Guru Angad. Guru Angad, 1539 to 1552 CE. His real name was Bhai Lehana. He standardized and popularized the Gurmukhi script of the Punjabi language. He established new religious institutions to strengthen the base of Sikhism and opened many new schools. He popularized and expanded the institution of Guru ka langar. He started the tradition of Mal Akhara for physical as well as spiritual development. Guru Amar Das, 1552 to 1574 CE. He reformed the langar and gave more importance to it, divided his spiritual empire into 22 parts called manjas, each under a Sikh and also a Pir system, strengthening the langar community kitchen system. Preached against the Hindu society sati system, the act of burning alive of a wife at the prayer of her deceased husband, advocated widow remarriages and asked the women to discard the parda, veil worn by women, asked Akbar to remove the toll tax, pilgrimage tax for non-Muslims while crossing Yamuna and Ganga river. Guru Ramdas. आप सिंगल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए गुरु रामदास के टॉपिक को क्योंकि इनके ऊपर UPPCS में 1996 में क्वेश्चन आया था. Guru Ramdas, 1574 to 1581 CE, composed 4 lavans, stanzas and of the Anand Karaj, a distinct marriage code for Sikhs separates from the orthodox and traditional Hindu Vedic system. had a very cordial relations with Akbar. Akbar granted him a plot of land where the Harmandir Sahib was later constructed. Interestingly, the first brick of Harmandir Sahib was laid down by Haji Mian Mir, a Muslim. Guru Ramdas also laid the foundation stone of Chak Ramdas or Ramdaspur, now called Amritsar. Strongly decried superstitions, caste system and pilgrimage. गुरु अर्जन देव, आप गुरु अर्जन देव के टॉपिक को सिंगल स्टामा कर लीजिए क्योंकि उत्तराखंड पीसीएस में मल्टीपल ईयर्स में इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन पूछे गए थे. ठीक है. Guru Arjan Das, 1581 to 1606 CE, compiled the Adi Granth, that is Guru Granth Sahib, and installed it at Sri Harmandir Sahib. Completed construction of Amritsar, Taran and Kartarpur. Executed by Jahangir for helping his rebellious son Khusrau, and was thus hailed as the first martyr of the Sikh religion, and as Shahidan-de Sartaj, the crown of martyrs. Guru Har Govind, 1606 to 1644 CE, longest tenure as a guru, he transformed Sikhs into a militant community, established the Akal Takht and fortified Amritsar, waged war against ruler Jahangir and Shahjahan and defeated a Mughal army at Sangram, took the title of Sacha Padshah, shifted his headquarters to Kartarpur, was the proprietor of the concept of Mir and Pir, keeping two knives. Guru Har Rai, 1644 to 1661 CE, gave shelter to Dara Shikoh, brother of Aurangzeb and his rival to the throne, and thus was persecuted by Aurangzeb, who framed charges of anti-Islamic blasphemy against Guru and the Guru Granth Sahib. Guru Har Kishan, 1661 to 1664 CE, was forcibly summoned to Delhi, the imperial capital of Aurangzeb, under framed charges. According to tradition, he died at a young age of 8 years due to smallpox, which he contracted while healing the sick people during an epidemic. Guru Tej Bahadur, 1665 to 1675 CE, revolted against Aurangzeb but was executed by him and was beheaded before the public. In Delhi's Chandni Chowk in 1675, the Sisganj Sahib Gurudwara stands at the site of his martyrdom today. He appointed Banda Bahadur as a military leader of the Sikh, credited with the spread of Sikhism to Bihar and Assam. So that's all for the day. In the next lecture, we'll start with Guru Gobind Singh. So keep on watching Ghatna Sutra. See you next time.